Good morning, Asmaran. Once again, I'm back with new topic, new subject, and we earlier discussed yesterday, we talk about the road development infrastructure, and the second topic was related to the particularly what exactly the contribution of various domain. Today, our topic is yesterday we end up with the road technology connectivity. That road technology connectivity in everything matters when stability is there in the country, stability is there in the particular region, and how that stability can be supported. The stability can be supported by technology innovation. So our today's topic is based on the same theme, that is science and technology. Today we are going to do see the science and technology first, and then the internal security, because these both topics are related to gs3 gs3 syllabus of science and technology. In this also, if you see, they have mentioned the particular topics, development in the defense technology, space technology, communication technology. So today our topic is space technology. Okay, our topic is space technology. Then up in gs3 also we have internal security, and this internal security, one theme is there, that is organized crime. Okay, so in today's lecture we are going to discuss these two main topics, and why we are taken these particular topics I am going to discuss this. If you see the yesterday's all India radio, ISRO chief was mentioning that during the operation Sindur, all ISRO satellites were active 24/7, and more than 400 scientists were working continuously. Can you imagine the dedication of their duty for the nation, their dedication towards their duty? So overall this is the major heading, like what we are going to discuss, and this is the base for our why in the news, base for our the news. Okay, so this is just a heading from lift off to the let downs. Okay, race faces the its toughest test yet. That means in India's space sector race, okay, how India grow in the space sector from the carrying the satellite from cycle to launching the first successful mission on the southern pole of the moon. This is our achievement, and we are now embarking on the India's own space station by 2036. So this is journey. In this mesmerizing journey, let's come with me, we will discuss this depth of India's space journey. Okay, so the why in the news, as I mentioned. Now, why exactly we want space? First of all, why exactly we want any technological development or anything that comes with some applications? And space technology in India specifically have very diverse applications in economy, in polity, in political domain, in social domain. So in this various domain I have divided this basic on the spatial approach. So various applications and various satellites with example, you will be able to justify your answer. Okay, so in economy, just think about the economic domain. I am going to discuss first economic domain only. So in economy, when you are carrying some good, so tracking of that goods, the vehicle tracking, then if some import is coming, how to handle that import, space technology help. And most imagining a remote sensing satellites mostly help to give a data for the effective policy making, particularly the economic domain. In agriculture also you can see the in economy, this is just one thing, but in economy, agri sector, service sector, and the manufacturing sector. Okay, these are the three sectors of India's economy. Okay, and in this agriculture, we have seen the satellites is going, satellite images. So how exactly this space technology is boosting agriculture through Bhuvan portal? Even if you see the state of forest report, the images catch by the ISRO satellite. Okay, similarly the Fasal Bima Yojana or the any other scheme, crop decision making system government has launched in 2024, and the digital agriculture mission, that is based on the space technology support. Okay, come to the our service sector. Service sector is contributing around 52% of India's GDP. Okay, and this GDP is more based on the IT revolution, and this IT revolution is fueled by space technology, India's growth phase. If you see the IT revolution in India and rise of the space sector, IT revolution in India and the rise of the space sector is overlapping. In 1980s and 90, specifically 1992, India's PSLV was first PSLV was launched. Okay, from there we liberalized the economy, service sector got boost, and the IT sector revolution came up with the, so with the support of space technology. Okay, so this is economy, in economic domain also, particularly service sector. Now come to the manufacturing sector. In manufacturing sector, if you see how space technology can help in the planning, in the resource mobilization, and the construction of the particular industry, where exactly that all done by the ISRO's remote sensing satellite. Okay, so this is very very essential for us to learn applications of the applications of the space technology in economy. Okay, now apart from economy, let's come to the next our application domain, that is the society. This is the best example. We all are aware about how we are getting the earlier, during the 2005 or 6 there was only DD Doordarshan channel, but now if you see YouTubes are coming, then the various government initiatives, there are Swayam initiative, e-Vidya initiative, that has supported by the ISRO's space satellite. Okay, so in society also, even women empowerment, even in case of the schooling, in case of the rural development, this space technology is playing very crucial role. And in society, if you see PM Swamitwa scheme, in we called it as a rights, land rights. Okay, and this scheme is literally based and 90% supported by the India's space satellites, space technology. Why? Because this land rights, okay, this land rights are assessed by ISRO's satellites. Okay, so it is not only the defense, but in social development also, in economic development also, space technology plays very crucial role. Okay, apart from the social domain, now if we come to the urban development specifically, I have mentioned the, because urban cities, mostly the urban agglomerations are act as a vehicles of India's economic growth. They are called as nodes of economic development. Even the World Bank also realized that India's 60% GDP comes from urban centers. So urban planning, urban mobilization, resource channelization, the drainage system, drainage connectivity, and the transport congestion, decongestion, satellite, everything is supported by the ISRO's satellites. Okay, this is just one example how Mission Amrut and Smart City Mission use the satellite data for the water conservation, waste and infrastructure development. Okay, so in urban development doesn't mean only just one thing, but it includes around planning, housing, transportation, resource mobilization, decongestion, even the SAFL, the air quality monitoring index, is also supported by our ISRO's satellite. So space technology, and particularly the India's ISRO's revolution in urban development and contribution is very very crucial. Okay, so this economic growth nodes is supported by our space technology. Okay, this is just one dimension. Now come to the third dimension, that is in pod. How particularly space technology help in the political domain. First is effective policy making. Second one is effective policy implementation, and third one is effective policy feedback. Because politics is all about making good policy, implementing that good policy on the ground, and getting the feedback and rejuvenating and filtering that particular policy. So in particular, this is just one example how geotagging of the satellites, project development, digital India mission, the so digital inclusivity, that is all done and supported by the skeleton, that is India's space technology. Okay, now come to the utmost and foremost aspect of the space technology we are implementing is India's national security. As from the starting I mentioned that how ISRO's chief appreciated the 400 plus scientists contribution during the Operation Sindur. We know the our only we know that in public media visibles are our armed forces response, but if you see that armed forces response supported by India's not only the just armed forces but the space technology. Yesterday, if you see the comment and exactly the what words they mentioned, the precise attack of the India's Air Force is done with the help of ISRO's data satellite sharing with the IFF. Okay, so this is the role played by ISRO in Operation Sindur. So ISRO's role, particularly the space technology role, is very crucial in the national security. How this is crucial? Border monitoring. Border monitoring. Infiltration is there. If you see, post 2021 there was junta rule in the Myanmar, and we stopped the sharing of we stopped the free regime movement across the India Myanmar Indo Myanmar border. But that doesn't stop the infiltration. So what we have done, we have provided the real time satellite monitoring, and that satellite is supported by our space technology, our ISRO's ISRO satellite. Okay, then this is just one aspect. If you see the swamps of Gujarat, all these terrains is monitored by India's satellites. Okay, and this is very crucial. If you see, there is in 2019, Ministry of Home Affairs asked ISRO specifically to develop one particular satellite for the border observing real-time data monitoring. Okay, so for national security, ISRO and the space technology plays very crucial role in the getting the prompt response, providing the proactive response to the any threats, national threats. Now come to that is a external security. But if internal security is there, the dimension is this in the national security doesn't include only external. In internal, if you see, the decline of left wing extremism is mostly supported by technology, and the technology is space technology. Because if you go to the Malkangiri of the Chhattisgarh, then the particularly Chhattisgarh Odisha belt, then the Naxalite belt, so we call as a red corridors. That red corridor incidences of left extremism is decline from around 1000 to just 75. This was the 2010 to 2025. This data is given by our Ministry of Home Affairs in the on the floor of the house. So this is a very important data, and you can cross check it. But this incidence decline majorly supported by the our armed forces, our paramilitary forces proactive action, and that action is supported by India's space technology. Okay, so this is just one dimension of the security. Now come to the another aspect of the applications of the space technology, that is disaster management. If you see, from the planning to prompt response to monitoring to mitigation, in all this domain we required space technology. We required the satellite based data, remote sensing, the images all the provided by the remote sensing and everything. So in this particularly, see, ISRO had decision support centers. We generally heard in the news that cyclone is coming, and IMD is forecasting cyclone. But who exactly supporting the IMD? Cyclone is coming, rainfall will be this much, rainfall will be that much, the landslide will happen this area, this area is a weak. this was all supported by the remote sensing data provided by the ISRO satellite. So in disaster management, not only in the earth cyclone, but in the earthquake, volcanic eruption, then the so-called the dam management, the floods, everything is monitored by ISRO's remote sensing satellites. Okay, so this is a application of the space technology in disaster management. Okay, and this year 2025 UPSC Mains asked the question, what are the applications of the nanotechnology in the agriculture? Same way, you should be able to write at least 10 to 12 points in 10 marker question and 15 to 16 points in the 50 marker question, how to tackle particular the issue. Okay, so this is a just one dimension. Tomorrow next like I think in 2023 or 24 UPSC has the application of the space technology, application of biotechnology. So this is very crucial aspect, because UPSC has exactly mentioned this in the UPSC syllabus notification, that the application of various technology that includes space technology in the various domain. So this becomes very crucial point for our mains perspective and even the prelims perspective. In the prelims domain, I would say there are around every year one question is there. 2023 the space satellite, 2020 2023 was the space satellite, then the orbital bombardment 2022 question, then 21 question also they ask the particular satellite missile. So space technology is very crucial for the overall India's economic development and India's social growth. Okay, so this is just one aspect, and these are the applications of the space technology. If applications are there, there might be a chances that the government will take a particular action, will take the particular initiative to boost this use of the space technology. Okay, so what are these measures? So I will show you. These are the government measures. We have dedicatedly launched the Indian Space Policy 2023. This is just one space policy which is opening space sector to the private sector. We have the Antrax, then we have InSpace, then we have the another InSpace and other organization which are the ISRO is very around. ISRO is parent organization, comes under the Department of Atomic Energy. This department comes under directly PMO. Okay, so if you if you want to find the exactly ISRO's parent ministry, ISRO's parent ministry, the Prime Minister's office, PMO, Department of Atomic Energy. In this there are two departments. Okay, this is a Department of Atomic Energy and Department of the Space and Space Department of Atomic Energy. This is the Department of Nuclear Science, and this is ISRO. Okay, in this also there are around 19 to 20 sub centers. No need to read each and everything. You have to just remember the ISRO's parent ministry. In this, ISRO has taken particular actions from the ISRO side also and government also. So this comes under directly PMO. So what government has, particularly government has done the India's dedicated space policy. Okay, so this is the first thing, and even the FDI. This is 100% FDI is allowed. Another one, as I mentioned, the India's space vision. We didn't only launch the India's space policy, but we have the vision. What is vision? We should have our own space station. We should have our own, particularly we should have our own satellites to monitor, because right now Navik or Gaganyaan, this year 2025 UPSC asked the question on Gagan, mission Gagan. So exactly we have the vision also, we have the policy also, and how government implementing through these reforms. Okay, space vision, the central public sector enterprise Antrax, as I mentioned, this is the particularly, and ISRO is not only supporting India's economy, India's polity, India's society, but ISRO's Antrax is generating revenue for us. Okay, for India. Okay, this revenue, if you see, India once recently only, this is a milestone achieved by ISRO, launching the 100 plus set, exactly one, not four satellites in one go. This is a milestone. Even NASA till now didn't have launched this much satellites in one go, but we have did this achievement. Okay, so this is the role of ISRO in, and the policies taken by the government. Okay, now these are the in space. This is a private one agency, as I told earlier that there are sub departments under the ISRO, and this is one of the department which deals with the private sector, which deals to engagement in, which try to involve more private sector in the space domain. Okay, this is just one thing, growing investment. This is the data, you can refer this data for your answer writing, and this FedEx. 2025 only we tried the best example, that is FedEx. If you want to become if we want to launch our own space station by 2036, then we should have tried this SpaceX. And the SpaceX experience is nothing but the joining the two space satellite and the space. Okay, this is very difficult task, and India is one of the elite country which have achieved this milestone. Okay, so these are the policies government has taken groundedly and government is implementing. Despite these many policies, there are issues, there are challenges, and if policies there, implementation will arise. If policies there, then other issues arise. So my point is this: now we are going to discuss what are the key challenges. Okay, if you see even the SpaceX in the mission and mission Shakti in 2019, that was anti-satellite satellite deorbital technology. But still our technology comparatively to the NASA, comparatively to the Rosmos, and comparatively to the European Space Agency, we are bit lagging behind. Our economy of scale is very good. Our the satellites, as our prime minister once said, that we sent our Mars mission was the 7 rupees per kilometer, and that in Gujarat, if you want to walk from the Ahmedabad in auto, it will take the 10 rupees per kilometer. But we sent our Mars mission in just 7 rupees. This was the statement, this was the economy of the scale ISRO is using. But what are the technical issues? Reusable launch vehicle. Unlike the NASA have some very advanced vehicles, but we have just like PSLV, GSLV, and GSLV also. There are subdivision. This has renamed in 2024. So now if you see Mach 1, Mach 2, Mach 3, so there is just we have to, and we are in the very progenitor stage in the reusable vehicle. Okay, these are the bottleneck, technological issues are there. Then dependence on the very critical aspect. India is not a member of nuclear supply group, so there are dual use technology which are prohibited, and for the use, even though that technology is used for the space and peaceful applications, but that has prohibited, and which limiting the India's space growth. So this is one of the technological aspect. Now if you come to the another aspect, that is infrastructure development. Our infrastructure, if you see, the more concentrated in the particular belt, and the lack of skill, connectivity, and availability of the resources at a particular time up to the mark is lagging. So this is the example I need to the more specific this thing. Then the private sector involvement. Still since 2019, we are asking the private sector to get involved. Even we have launched the dedicated wing in the ISRO to get involved the private sector in India's space technology, but the involvement is too much limited. Around 80% of India's space sector is dominated by public investment. Okay, and just 20% is by private players. Okay, so now you can imagine how much private. But in case of the USA, see Falcon 9 rocket, even Axom mission, recently Axom mission, that was a private mission, and that was not the NASA's mission. So can you imagine the level of private sector ecosystem development in the USA and in India? So our most of the funds and our most of the satellites are supported by the government, and not by the private player. But this is not the case in the USA. Most of the Falcon 9, the SpaceX itself is a private agency. NASA is only state agency, but SpaceX is a private agency. That much private sector is matured in USA. So we have to achieve this kind of milestone, but this is one of the bottleneck. Now if you come to the next policy regulation, and even though we have joined the under something external space treaty of 1959. Okay, outer space treaty 1959. But the involvement and everything, the regulation on the ground is bit, policy constraints are there, and that policy constraints is limiting the India's growth of space sector. Now these are the issues. Then what exactly we can, even if you see, there is skill gap in India. Most of the, even in take an example of our case in UPSC, most of the aspirants they prepare for the UPSC, but how many of us, they are preparing for the NASA, and they are aspiring, preparing for the ISRO, and they are aspiring to be a space scientist. There are very few number. So this is one of the cost skill gap. And the even the if you go, if you think why this skill gap is exists, because the main reason is our education system. We have very limited around space engineering colleges. So we should provide a space engineering support, engineering colleges that will help to build a very strong connectivity. And education is also lacking, the education pile up in the skill gap pile up in the infrastructure, lacking the infrastructure deficit ultimately leads to the policy paralysis, and policy paralysis leads to the technological challenges. All these are interconnected, intricate challenges. Okay, so this is the challenges. Now if these are the challenges, what we can do, even this dimension also we can mention the we are not only one country which is aspiring to be a space hegemon, but the thing is this, what we are doing, we are trying, but comparatively the china's development, US's development, we are still lagging far behind compared to the China has launched its second satellite for its own space station. China alone is developing its own space station, unlike the presently international space station. Okay, so this is the challenges. So what we can do, sustainability we have discussed, the human capital already I have discussed, the cyber security and space asset, this is also one dimension. Let me explain the space infrastructure comes under space infrastructure, critical infrastructure. But if you see the indian indian cyber report of 2024 published by Data Security Council of India, around 3.5 uh, around mm, 30 million something cyber attack happened, cyber detections are there. Okay, cyber detections, and endpoints are 8 million. 8 million, that just imagine the 30 million kind of detections are happening, small or big. So it makes our space infrastructure vulnerable for external attacks. If you see, in 2023, the complete US's complete so-called the petrol saline and the NASA's website was hacked by the hackers. So this is one of the concern which we have to work upon. Okay, now we will come to the next point. What are the major strength in the program? Okay, this is technological advancement. SpaceX is one of the example, because SpaceX is kind of the milestone very few country has achieved, taking two satellite in the space, managing the scientifically and making them to adjust each other and forming one consolidated block is very difficult. If you try in your home just to keep the two bricks together, it is difficult. So that even the two bricks, keeping two bricks together is difficult. We have achieved this in the space. So this is our strength. We are hardworking persons, and that hardworking persons lead to the technological development in last 75 years. See, just one example, Britishers ruled us. See the Britishers space technology development and India's space technological development. You will get to know that how India is far ahead, a country which is born 75 years back, now where we are standing and where United Kingdom is standing. Okay, so this is the thing. Now these are the policies we have provided. Now what we can do to address these bottlenecks? First is technological cooperation, technological development, self-reliance, atmanirbharta in the space technology. How we can do? Start with the building a short-term and long-term project. Short-term, I would say, short-term, long-term. In short-term, we can cooperate with like-minded country, as this here is mentioned, like-minded NASA and NISAR is the best example of recent cooperation. Technological advancement, like own technology means our own engine, own engineering marvels. Okay, so this is the technological cooperation, technological development, then international involvement of the private players. We have very strong belief. If particular business group want to invest in the space technology, we have regulation and we should address that regulation, so it will be easy for us, for India, to build a strong technology, space technology base. Okay, these are the short term, but in long term what we can do, start with the education. Education leads to the skill development leads to the demand, and demand development leads to the infrastructure development, and infrastructure development automatically lead to the space development. Okay, so this chain should be there. And this chain, because if you see, everything start, if you are educated, you will contribute in the economy, you will contribute in the society, you will contribute in the polity. So education is the foundation of everything. Okay, and education should be based on scientific temper. If you see, in our fundamental duties also, we have one fundamental duties, 51 a h or g, that is to develop the scientific temper. That scientific temper automatically will lead to the space technology advancement in India. But this is the chain, this will be the long term goal. But in short term, cooperation with international players, self reliance by involving the private player, and then what are the technology, what we are advanced, that we should be commercialize our space sector, so revenue will be generated, and that revenue can be once again reinvested in India's space development. Okay, these are the way forward where we can manage India's space technology. Now, these are the examples you can explain the JIX as an international private sector environment, strategic and civil applications. Then, okay, now come, this is the final. If you see our honorable Prime Minister's speech, space satellites are not just satellites, they are the commitments, they are the ambitions, and they are the aspirations of 1.4 billion Indians, which take not a satellite but all 1.4 billions to the space. And that shows the rising India's power, that shows how India is becoming a global power. Okay, the last, if you see, Nisar and the our Shubhanshu Shukla's the recent visit, Axom mission success, that shows how important India is at a global level. And India's space diplomacy is one of the aspect which is like growing too much, and that will help not only domestically but internationally. Okay, so this is overall India space sector. Do read about the application of the space technology in the various domains, then what are the challenges, what are the initiatives taken by the government. And but for the prelims, you should be, these are this is one example, you can solve this question. But for the prelims, particular mission, earlier UPSC used to ask question on what exactly the ISRO's arm, what exactly ISRO's role, the PSLV, GSLV. But what UPSC is doing right now, UPSC nowadays asking particular mission, that particular mission's aim and objective. Like in case of Aditya mission, Nisar is very very important. Okay, because the and SPEDX, these are the very important for the 2026 mains. Okay, the particular mission aim and objective, technological terms, these two things only, and applications, these two things for the prelims and this one thing for the mains. Okay, you should be able to justify space technology, how we can use. Take example agriculture, you should mention the Bhuvan, you should mention the PM Swamitwa scheme, then Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima. In the space technology, in the particular service sector, IT revolution. Okay, in the security, you should build special satellite. The example will give additional, and if you see the in market, value addition, value addition, value addition, there is nothing concept of value addition. Actually, value addition is the thing which you are actually lacking, and you just want something additional to justify your point. That is a value addition. If you do comprehensively this study, in any question in the space, you have to divide in the economic, political, social, developmental, security, international security in this domain, and you have to write the answer. Okay, so this is the particular applications of the India means space technology. There is a question, you can go through this. And one more thing, you will get the this PDF, this slide PDF below the link, whatever the given in the lecture, means in the video lecture. Okay, space technology in becoming the indispensable part of national security. And elucidate, this is a classical example. How you can start with recent contest. Okay, if you start with recent contest, we will we will solve the means we will write the I will give the framework how to write this question. Okay, two things are there. Just read this question. Space technology in is becoming an indispensable part of the national security and disaster preparedness. You got the question. Now break down that question. Think, break, and act. Think, break, act. This is a strategy I used in the mains, and that helped me a lot with my own experience. I'm telling. Think. Question is on GS3. Question is on space technology. Okay. In that also, what exactly? Break it down. They are asking two specific domain: national security, disaster preparedness. I will show you how to generate the points. National security. In this also, divide external, internal. In this also, external, border, mention border also various points: J&K border, Myanmar border, Bangladesh border. And in this, observation, infiltration, refugee, crimes, organized crime, everything. This will be the internally. Left wing extremism management, law and order maintenance, urban center monitoring. So you will be able to generate. See, this is one aspect of the question. 4 points here, 4 points, 8 points. Now the second aspect, disaster management. Okay, just a minute. Disaster management, DM. In this, divide into 3 parts. Think, break it. We have broken this into preparedness, during disaster, and mitigation. Here, cyclone monitoring, earthquake prediction, rainfall, drought, go to the. And similarly, during the monitoring, sheltering, tracking, real-time details. Mitigation efforts, proactive action, coastal management. Okay, then coastal management, then the building bioshield, afforestation tracking, afforestation provided. These are the so 3 you will be able to generate around 18 to 19 points in 50 marker question. You have to give just example. Done. So overall, this is our space sector and space sector's development and space sector's applications in the various domain. What are the challenges and what are the issues? Once again, I will mention the space sector comes under not only GS3 science and technology, but space sector has very wider applications across the domain, across the sectors. This year, UPSC in 2025 asked how the remote sensing can be used in the planning of the resources in GS1. So don't compartmentalize the GS1, GS2, GS3, but try to make one study approach that will include. If you cover the disaster management in the GS3, no need to do specifically disaster management, means particular geographical aspect in the GS1. Okay, disaster management as topic around the 20 to 30 markers, but geography in the GS1 is 100 marker. And this UPSC 2025 has asked 2 questions, so you should remember this key, how this space technology is important. Okay, now if space technology is there, space technology also helps to. We are going from the technological domain. How the another aspect of our next topic is particularly how, if society is not stable, and why society is not stable, because of this thing. And why we are taking this, everyone, recent incidents happen in the state of Maharashtra, that deputy chief minister of Maharashtra scolding, and they have some argument with the one law enforcement officer. My point is this was just one example of dedication in ethics. But if you see the another dimension of this particular act is what I found, that is organized crime, and how police agencies, enforcement law enforcement agencies trying to control the organized crime. So called the sand mining, sand smuggling is one of the organized crime, and that was happening. And officer, that particular officer was taking action, taking action against that sand mining, particularly the that murum, so called the murum is one of the uh, minor producer. Okay. Minor mineral. Okay, so this is also mineral smuggling is one of the organized act. So we have taken this next topic is this one only, organized crime in India, a growing threat to the stability. How this is just why in the news, this is a one dimension. Now, actions against the organized crime. IPS officer, you can see, mostly try to avoid the specific name, but just mention law enforcement or agencies, law enforcement officers, because mining and everything comes under the revenue, and the law and order comes under the police. Okay, so you should be remember this key, why the organized crime. But tell me, can anyone tell me what is organized crime? Organized crime have some specific characteristic: syndicalization, hierarchy, the following the particular dimension, and the invisibility. There is a link, and organized crimes are not only one. There are many organized crimes. If you go to the, I have mentioned here only organized crimes. This is just explaining the controversy, not that much deep. You can take the PDF of the classes of organized crime. Okay, these are the organized crime. But while writing this kind of organized crime, drugs trafficking, human trafficking, animal smuggling, then the gold smuggling, okay, sand smuggling, sand mining, illegal sand mining, all these are the categories of organized crimes. But you should know the organized crime. There is no particular definition as such in organized crime. But if you see the 1990s, Maharashtra's Prevention of the Organized Crimes Act, which got the assent of the President of India, and that's why many people, many aspirants ask me why this Maharashtra particular state act is enforceable across the India, because that particular act got the assent of the President. Okay, the organized crime particularly comes under the union list. Okay, so Maharashtra's Organized Crimes Act provide the definition, not only exact definition, but what are acts comes under the organized crimes. Okay, 1990 that act, you can go through that act, but this is one of the definition of the organized crime. And what are the organized crime? These are the types of definition what they mention: the human trafficking, animal trafficking, illicit drugs trafficking, then the gold smuggling, the even the organ transplantation rackets. These are the kinds of organized crimes, and they are happening across the, if you know the Chennai case of organ transplantation, then the recently happening the baby smuggling, the human trafficking case in the West Bengal, then the what Mahadeva app, the online so-called tracking, that is also kind of the organized crimes only. Why? Because organized crimes have the chain characteristic. First one is a chain, second one hierarchy, third one invisibility, in fourth one the strengthening the chain across the wider network. If you see the Mahadeva app, the origin is in Chhattisgarh, the members are in Assam, and the another member is in Tamil Nadu, the next member is in the this Punjab. So just imagine, this is a wider network of the organized crime. So these are the categories of organized crime. Cyber crimes also comes under organized. Money laundering is also part of organized crime. And money laundering, we have the specific act, Prevention of Money Laundering Act 2002, and you can see this organized crime: the contract killing, assassination, illegal sandwood mining, sandalwood. This is best example, Pushpa movie based on this theme only. Okay, these are the, now what are the laws taken? As I mentioned earlier, 1990 Mokako. Okay, Maharashtra Control of Organized Crime Act, the Prevention of Money Laundering Act. See, this is broader act. This is a broader. Okay, but this act is specifically for the money laundering, and money laundering is just one organized crime act. Now come to Unlawful Activities Prevention Act. This act particularly, terrorism is also organized crime act, but it is very global level. So, terrorism has global level detention, but now we are doing domestic only. So terrorist. This UAPA National Security Act. Then the earlier it was a Pota Tada. That act was specifically to control the terrorism and terrorism kind of organized act. Okay, so UAPA is one of them, and the next one NDPS, Narcotics, Narcotic Drugs and Psychotropic Substances Act 1985, which establishes the Special Narcotic Bureau of India at a global level, at a national level and regional level, various offices. Everyone knows a very special, very famous Indian Bollywood actor's son was caught in this issue only now under the NDPS Act. And drugs trafficking is one of the organized crime act, and that was very spreading across. If you see the Punjab state, then the urban centers and so-called film industries, there was a many incidences of the how the drugs are coming and going, and this is one of the main issue, main menace of organized crime to the society. Okay, so these are the one of the issue NDPS Act. Then the recently 2023 we have enacted the new Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita. Then Bharatiya, these are the specifically sections. Why you have to mention these sections? Because everyone will mention Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, but if you mention the section 111, then section 112, you will get additional 0.5 marks. You should be specific, you should not be very general like okay, Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita is there, but if you think and break it down, Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita consists of more than 50 sections, more than 450 sections. And in that, no one, you, that means if examiner will think that you have just basic idea, but if you go the specific, okay, section 112 deals with the this. Similarly, this year the question came on Representation of People's Act in GS2, which was basically corrupt practices. If you see the corrupt practice definition under the section 53, 53 something is there, so you will get the idea. Specifically UPSC is going in this domain also, you have to go to specific point. So I have mentioned the sections. Now Wildlife Protection Act, or even the animal trafficking in and the rhinoceros, what is happening in northeast, even the, this is a very big menace in the coastal Kerala, then the Tamil Nadu and northeast. These are the very prominent centers of the wild trafficking. Okay, so we have the provision of Wildlife Protection Act 1972 as amended in 2022. Okay, companies regulate the private, prevent the insider trading and everything. Even this kind of the act are there. POSCO Act, child offences 6 years. Even child pornography comes under organized crimes. Okay, and for this to control, we have the POSCO Act 2012. Then now state police, ED, everyone knows enforcement directorate, these are the institutions. We are discussing the what are the initiatives and acts are taken by the national level and state level government to contain the organized crimes. But still there is issue of, these are the initiatives, and these are the why exactly this organized crime poses the threat to the national security. Okay, government has taken the initiative, but government has taken initiative because of these reasons. First is human dignity, fundamental rights. Human trafficking is there, then how the particular individual is able to exercise his fundamental right, human dignity, and particularly the woman dignity. And if you see, we have all the citizens of India under the article 51A have the duty to renounce the practices which are derogatory to the woman's dignity. This is the particular fundamental duty of all the we the citizen of India. And human trafficking specifically for the pornography and other things, this is one of the organized crime. So to tackle this, we have the initiatives. This is one human trafficking issue. This poses the threat to the human dignity, the stability, the national stability, government stability. If you see the Mahadeva app incidents, that was revoked the Chhattisgarh and particular Chhattisgarh state, and that led to the change in the Chhattisgarh government. That was the Mahadeva app havoc. This was the organized crime. So this threat posed by political stability, human dignity. Then the next one is the national security, internal security also, and external security. Then the bilateral relationship with our friendly countries. If you see the bilateral relationship with our friendly countries, the best example is India, China, India, Pakistan, India, Myanmar. We closed our border along with the Myanmar because of this so-called the infiltration, so-called the refugee crisis, so-called the illegal transboundary movement of the animal illegal movement of the animal, particularly the husk and everything, in particular elephant. Okay, so this is the one of the aspect, good relationship, the threatening the friendly relationship with the countries. Okay, then we will go to the political stability challenge. Then now economic challenges, black money and taxes evasion. Money laundering is a threat, and as Gandhi always mentioned, trust reciprocal. We are the trustees, but people are that much materialistic, they are not understanding, and this ultimately happening the broader idea of the social justice. So organized crime, organized crime into the specific money laundering was a threat to the economic stability. So this is one of the threat. Then tax evasion. Now come to the money laundering, tax, human social challenge, human trafficking, as I have listed, loss of lives. And if you see, we always treat the Vasudev Kutumbakam, this whole world is our family. That doesn't include only human being, that includes animal also. Okay, animals and all living creatures. So this is our Vasudev Kutumbakam policy. But if animal trafficking is happening, and this is a very big menace threat to posed by the organized crime. Okay, this is youth radicalization, women safety. We have discussed the social dimension. Now what are the challenges, particularly the tackling the organized crimes? The first challenge is this issue. In 2012, one judgment came. This judgment was very famous. I am not remembering the exactly the this Saula Judam, Salwa Judam. These are the local youth recruited by the police enforcement agencies to tackle the left-wing extremism, as a left-wing extremism threat to the India's means threat to the internal security. But the Salva Judam in 2011, Supreme Court apparently banned this Salva Judam. Why? Because of this national security versus human security. Security of what? Territorial security or human security? Supreme Court considered that the human security is paramount, then national security comes. So this is the first challenge. Most of the organized crimes done by the actors, they are aware about the legal intricacies, and they challenge, particularly if anything happen, incidents happen, we know the one dimensions. This means firing happened, particularly in the Baksar district of the Chhattisgarh or the Gadchiroli. We newspaper apparently write in the paper that this happened. But if you see the another dimension, there was security threat, and law enforcement agency have to act on that security threat. But what we see, this one dimension, the violation, gross egregious violation of the fundamental rights or human rights. So this question arises, and this leads to one of the prime challenge for to tackle the organized crimes. Okay, the next one is excessive brutality. This is a some in some cases, I'm not denying that some particular police will not act, but some cases there are issues that the misuse of power has happened. If you see the in Tamil Nadu, during Tamil Nadu and the during 1990s in Punjab. So this thing happened to this was the one of the menace for the control the organized crimes. Now if you go to the next level, just a minute, transnational nature of the crimes. Okay, transnational nature of the crimes. We have around here Myanmar, Bangladesh, Pakistan and China. What is happening? That's why the instability in Manipur is purely related with this organized crime issue. People will come from the Myanmar, they will some incident, they will instigate the people, they will take some animal organs, they will do some inhuman act, and they will just cross the border. So our law enforcement agency is limited to this. Our law enforcement agency should not cross, and they will not able to cross this international border, and that is one of the reason why organized crime is a threat and it is difficult to tackle. But a criminal is committing some criminal act in India's border, and there is free movement in India Myanmar border 16 kilometers, and he is just crossing without any cross check, nothing, and he is free. But law enforcement agencies like police or army, they cannot cross. This is a limitation. So tell me how we can tackle. This is the issue. This is one of the challenge which leads to the inaction, or particularly the late action on the particular, means tackling the organized crime. Okay, done. Now come to the next point, gray zone warfare using the cyber technology. If you see the 2020 AIMS attack on Delhi's infrastructure, Delhi AIMS, then the power grid attack in power grid attack only, and the Exim PNB bank attack, PNB, the Kerala state 2018 attacks, all these are cyber attacks. And the cyber security is also one of the organized crime. And what is happening in the cyber security? They are committing attack, law and order comes under the police are unable to tackle the thing. They will sit in the Haryana and they will commit act, online act in the Tamil Nadu. So for Tamil Nadu police, it will be very difficult to tackle that issue, because police is means police is a state subject. So finding the attacks, and we are losing too much many. This is one of the challenge to tackle the organized crimes. Then now come to advanced use of technology, criminals, these things are there. Lack of cooperation among the agencies, this is of the, we have Narcotic Bureau, NCB. Okay, then we have anti-terrorist squad, then we have NIA, then we have revenue department. Okay, this one, and then we have economic intelligence unit, then we have ED, we have CBI, and all these agencies, particularly if that case is referred to the cyber issue, there is a lack of cooperation among the agencies to tackle the organized crimes. As I earlier said, cyber is one of the, even organ donation, organ smuggling, gold smuggling. Airport, best example is 2024, one Karnataka actor caught because she was doing gold smuggling. Okay, and the reason is being, airport is managed by, comes under union government. Okay, and the just outside the airport authority is of state government. So Mysore airport, I'm taking exact example, Mysore airport and Bangalore airport was managed by the CISF and the central government, but the authority exact outside, that is managed by the state police. What happened during this? The state police, because the particular actor's father was very high law enforcement official, so sometimes what happened, people will think that high official, the that particular actresses belong to the rich family, so how she can come in? So there was easy pass to her, and she crossed that line. Even because of this influence, even airport authority let them, and suddenly new officer came, that officer caught the exactly, and that issue was become open. So this is the reason, one of the reason, the lack of cooperation between among the agencies. At the same time, had been the CISF and the state police are coordinating, this gold smuggling issue would not have happened in the Karnataka. Okay, this is one of the dimension. Political patronage to the crimes. I also mentioned this. Now delayed prosecution. ED, best example is ED. Around 18,000, ED don't have the authority to sign the first information report, but ED have economic information, first information report is there, one particular. And in out of this 18,000 cases since 2015 to 2025, around only 0.2% conviction rate is there. Okay, 0.2% conviction rate is there. This is a delayed process. This will give age to the organ criminals to act without any fear. Okay, so this is one of the reason delayed prosecution. Trials will go long and long, so we need comprehensive overhaul of the system. Overhaul. Okay, now what we can do, this is National Security Council. We have that at a national level, we have the National Security Council which look after the national external issues, even the border area issue. But if you go legislatively, we have to act laws, we have laws, implementation should be there. Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita section 111, section 112, we have to implement this. The coordination among the agencies, the new act, that is the Economic Offenders Act 2018, Fugitive Economic Offenders Act 2018, we have to act. Then if the organ donation is there, the cooperation between state police, if you remember in 2021 there was the issue happened between the Punjab police and Delhi police. Even police agencies are not cooperating. Then the next one is aware citizenry. If we are aware about the what exactly the happening in the cyber domain, we should be aware. Even the childs, those who are using the phone, parental well-being be there, so they should not be the victim of they should not be the victim of child pornography. In human domain, as a human being, we need very minimum things as a just follow the Gandhi's minimalistic lifestyle mantra. That mantra will help you to reduce your demands. And see, we have to fulfill our needs, not the greeds. Okay, so why this exactly the human trafficking happening? Because we have the greed to get something more, but the short term goal always impact at an individual level. At an individual, the solution is to we fulfill our need, not the greed. At an institutional level, we should connect industries and agencies should have the cooperation. Then at a legislative domain, we should police should implement law effectively in the letter and spirit. Okay, and at a national or international level, India has already proposed, and India is a member of UN Prevention of the Organized Crimes Act Convention. So global level cooperation should be, vocality should be there. Okay, there should be people, country should be vocal at national international level to tackle the menace. Even our foreign minister always mentioned there should be the no good terrorism, bad terrorism. There should be no double stand on the terrorism. This is our global recognized stand at a global level, that there is no difference between the good terrorism, bad terrorism. Terrorism is bad for everyone. Even the attack in USA, even the attack in China, even the attack in Japan, and the recent attack in the Israel. Terrorism is what bad for everyone. So everyone should act at a global level. So from individual level to the institutional level to the global level, we should act in the tandem. If all this act in the tandem, we can easily able to tackle this menace of organized crimes, not only in the particular state, not only in the particular locality, but at the global level. Okay, so this should be the way forward. But what is happening, the challenges are there. Government is not particularly the support system, money, muscle. And important thing, we should strengthen our institutions in the domain that ki NCB, there should be less politicization of the police. There should be the few more the example we started with the this Anjana Krishna issue. Because that kind of mentality, political leaders should realize, they are the office bearers, they have the trust of the people, they enjoy the trust of the people. And officers are the executing authority, and they have the trust of the constitution. That means they should uphold the constitutional morality. The particular law enforcement officer was just implementing the law, but due to the certain issue that spread the wrong message. Even civil society act, the role of civil society is also important to the control this organized crimes. Okay, so this is overall broader picture. Organized crimes comes under the GS3, internal security issue. And even the organized crimes, UPSC are asking the GS4 also, how it is social issue. International wars, how is it the ethical issue? It is ethical issue also, and security issue also. So overall, this is our broader organized crimes. I have explained all this Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita improvement in among agencies. You can go through it. Already you will get the PDF of this on our Plutus IAS website. And one more thing, this is a conclusion and prelims question. What exactly UPSC is asking now. Overall, the particular, we as a citizen of India, you should be aware. As a human being, we should be aware. But first and foremost, as an aspirant, we should be able to write in the answers. So how we can write and what kind of questions are coming? If you see, in 2023 there was question on home guards. Okay, and there was always question on law and order, and one of the question on the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita in 2024 mains UPSC asked in GS4. Okay, this was question 6B. Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita 2000 home guard. So what are the law enforcement agencies, what are their roles, is specifically mentioned in the GS3 security internal security syllabus. Okay, these are the issues, and I have just a frame. And most of the time I have seen the student are asking ki, why this particularly the Maharashtra Control of Organized Crimes Act is implemented at a national level, because this act has the consent of the in the President of India. If any act of the state got the consent of assent of the President of India, that act is implementable across the India, because President of India is the President of India, not the particular state. Okay, so that's why we particularly the law enforcement agencies evoking this Mokako Act. Okay, so overall this is our today's discussion. And now come to the various laws and initiatives India aim to combat the organized crimes. How effective are these measures in addressing the multifaceted nature of the organized crime? In this multifaceted, give you idea that ki human level, animal level, trade level, drugs level. Okay, human, animal, then the organization level, then the cyber space level. All these are the natures, and particularly all this you can mention the laws and extent of the laws and what we can further do to contain the particular act organize the crimes. Okay, so overall this was our two topics. Today was the science and technology day and the internal security day. So I have covered from the basic to the higher level, and always use this approach, one study approach, no separate for prelims, not a separate for mains. Just make sure that you are able to write the answer within the given time period, that is 7 minutes and 11 minutes. If you able to complete the paper with a good example, and more for foremost and paramount is you should justify your point. If developmental deficit is there, so why? If transnational nature of organized crime is there, why? You should put the example of infiltration in Indo-Bangladesh border. You should put the example of drugs trafficking around the India-Myanmar border, because that example shows your practicality. Practicality means this candidate is aware about the what is happening in the surrounding, and try to mention the current context only, not only the context given in the particularly the your notes or something. So to get the current content, best sources are PIB, All India Radio, and Sunset TV. Okay, so tomorrow once again we will come with a new topic, with a new energy and new zeal. Before going to cut this our discussion, I just want to mention that we have specifically Sankalp Sarthi mentorship programming on this line only, what I have discussing daily basis. I am only mentoring the student how to deal with, and we have the procedure, and we are providing the procedure. Implementation is done by the together collectiveness. Ultimately, to stop the organized crime or to just clear the UPSC exam, we need collective actions, and collective actions need the procedure. That procedure we are providing to you. If anyone is interested to this mains mentorship programming or prelims mentorship programming and comprehensive integrated prelims come, because once again I will repeat, just 15 weeks 2 days are remaining for the mains. So anyone want to join, they can call to our centers. Our assistant, our representative will assist you to get how to get admission with a reasonable rate. Unlike paying hefty fees, I will assure you, if you follow the procedure, you will get through this exam. Ultimately our aim, first we are aspirant at present. For the short term, long term, we are the citizens. So as a citizen we should be aware about what is happening surrounding, and as an aspirant we should be able to write that what is happening in the surrounding in the paper. This is the ultimate goal of our studies. Okay, got it? Once again, Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.